All right, everybody, welcome to the guitar tutorial for Starting Over by Chris Stapleton. My name is Steve. I am the owner of Rose Rock Music Lessons. It's great to have you here. This is our very first YouTube guitar tutorial, and I hope you find it enjoyable and awesome, and you learn something. So if you're here from our TikTok page and you're hoping to duet with me, awesome, great to have you. If you're here because you randomly found us searching for how to play Chris Stapleton, great, just as awesome. Okay, we're just thrilled you're here, and I'm super excited to get going. So Chris Stapleton is one of my favorite songwriters, especially in the current era of songwriting. He is just amazing. I love the stripped down production of his recordings. I love the arrangement and the instrumentation. I'll talk a little bit about that during our lesson today, but mostly it's a guitar lesson. We're gonna learn how to play the guitar part, so let's dive in. So the first thing, we're in the key of B flat. Okay, this is called a capo. If you don't have one, you can play this in the key of G. All the chord shapes that I'm going to call out today are as if we were playing in the key of G. So they're going to be called the shapes that you're playing rather than the actual chord names themselves. So if you're unfamiliar with that whole capo theory, no problem. Lots of great resources out there for that. I don't have a whole lot of time to get into that today, but I would love to walk you through it at some point. So give me a shot. We'll talk about it. All right, so we're gonna break this song down into 4 sections: the intro / turnaround, the verse, the chorus, and the bridge. Okay, now the bridge doesn't have any vocals in it. You could just call it an instrumental section. There's no guitar solo. We're gonna talk a little bit about that, but it's just kind of a different chord progression. I'm just calling it a bridge for today. So on the intro, first we want to kind of establish our tempo for the song. Okay, this is a very cool strumming pattern for this song, and that's really all we're gonna do today is strum some chords, okay? But it's really cool how he arranged the guitar part. So our tempo is about like this, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, but we're sort of gonna subdivide that or count that in our head as 8th notes, okay? That's kind of how we want to be feeling this song. We don't want to be thinking quarter notes, we kind of want to be thinking 8th notes, okay? Now, the first chord we're gonna play is a G chord shape, but we're doing it a little bit differently. We're gonna have our 3rd finger on our low E string 3rd fret. And by the way, fret numbers are relative to the capo. So 3rd fret would be just 3rd fret up from the capo. Technically 6th fret because that's a B flat. But for today, it's the 3rd fret. Okay, so 3rd finger, 3rd fret, low E, 2nd finger, 2nd fret, A, and 4th finger all the way down on the high E string, 3rd fret. So we still get a G sound, or a B flat. We're still getting that G chord sound, but we're changing how we use our fingers in this chord because of the movement, because of that part, okay? So this strumming pattern is gonna sound like this, and then I'll kind of break it down. Okay, so we have a lot of cool movement in there. That's one thing I really like about this part. You know, Chris Stapleton does not have a lot of instruments in his recordings, but the instruments that are there just do an incredible job, this is all on purpose, of filling in the space where they need to and laying out where they need to, okay? So that acoustic, you know, sometimes a guitar player might just kind of strum the chord like that, but by putting that movement in there, it just makes it that much more interesting, okay? And that next chord that I went to, by the way, is a C major 7. So we have 2 chords in this intro part, the G and the C major 7. C major 7, 3rd finger, 3rd fret A, 2nd finger, 2nd fret D, and then that's it. If you're kind of a beginner guitar player and you're just picking this up for the first time, that's an awesome chord to learn because it sounds awesome and it's easy. Cool? This one's a little trickier, but C major 7 is very easy. So, in between those chord changes, we have that movement. And all that movement that we hear is that 1st finger going up and down on the B string 1st fret, okay? So we have our rhythm. So one thing I like to recommend, you know, I don't usually like breaking down strumming patterns by, you know, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down. No, that is what it would be. Down, 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 up, down, up, down, down. However, by thinking in just terms of downs and ups, you sort of start to try to just memorize the part instead of internalizing the rhythm, which is really the important thing that we need to do as musicians, okay? So one thing I like to recommend is as you're listening to the song, you can do this exercise whether you're playing, driving in the car, whatever, just sort of hum along that guitar pattern. So ba 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 da ba da ba da 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 da. And if you have your timekeeper going, that right hand, I call that the timekeeper sometimes. So if you have that timekeeper going in this motion, and I kind of mimic that rhythm that I hummed out loud, I'm gonna get the right strumming pattern no matter what. So you can practice slow, but you notice that right hand never quits moving? That's my timekeeper. So that's why I was kind of talking about subdividing in eighth notes. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, ba 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 da ba da ba da da da. Okay, so it's a lot of moving parts when you break down rhythms like this. Comes together to sound easy. It is not easy. Okay, so if something like this is giving you some trouble, don't fret. Get it? Guitars have frets. Okay, I digress. So we have that eighth note rhythm with our right hand, and we have that da 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 da. C major 7. Okay, so that's going to be every intro and every turnaround. Good work. Now, let's move on to the verse, okay? So the verse is a different pattern, but we're going to keep this timekeeper, our eighth note rhythm, going the whole time. We just kind of change where we hit the strings and where we don't. So one thing I got to point out, if you're a songwriter, this is something to take note of. He doesn't strum. I assume it's Chris Stapleton playing the acoustic. We're gonna assume that is, okay? So he doesn't strum much while he sings. It's in between the singing parts that he decides to strum that guitar. So that's something you can implement, you know, if you're looking to really highlight that vocal when it comes out, and then you can kind of put that piece back in to replace the vocal. And then you bring that vocal forward, bring the guitar back, and vice versa. You kind of create contrast, okay? So in this verse part, we kind of have a single strum, and he's still got his timekeeper going, right? He's still got that right hand moving. And so we kind of hear some guitar in there, but then we have that, so we have D chord. That's the new one, okay? So we have a D chord here. The movement in the D chord is the second finger on the high E string. So you might have seen, you know, in those pauses, I'm imagining him singing. I tried singing there and it wasn't great. Okay, so I'm just gonna stop singing. But I'm imagining that Chris is right next to me, wouldn't that be cool? And he's singing along with me, okay? So those pauses, did you notice? My right hand kept on bouncing, okay? That is my timekeeper. I can't stress that enough. That is the part that's gonna keep you in the rhythm, in the song, okay? So... say I got a little drummer up there, and he is playing bop 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 bop, okay? And that's what my hand is doing. So when we use the word internalize the rhythm, that's what that means. We're kind of putting it inside of us. We hear it in our head. We play it with our hand. You know, if I were standing, I might be tapping my foot. I'm on a tall stool here, so I can't even reach the ground. So otherwise, I would be tapping my foot. Okay. So that's the verse, all right? We have a lot of cool movement in between the vocal parts. It's 3 chords you've probably played before. The G chord is just a little bit different voicing. The real trick to a part like this is to keep that right hand moving the entire time, okay? If you're struggling with that, don't worry, it takes time, okay? This whole idea of internalizing rhythm is something I work with students for weeks or months at, depending on how much they work at it, okay? Now, chorus part. So if you're here for the chorus, if you want to, duet with me in the Tik Tok video, this is where you want to kind of listen up, right? Love this chorus. So he's written a song where he's got verse, that has kind of a sparse chord progression, okay? It's kind of a lot of resting. That G chord hangs on for a while, and then he goes to the C chord, and that hangs on for a while. But then we get to the chorus, and it's anything but sparse, right? There are a lot of chords changing in this chorus. So again, contrast. You're gonna hear me say this all the time. A good song uses contrast, okay? Sometimes lyrically, sometimes melodically, and sometimes in this case, it's with the arrangement and the guitar part specifically. So when we go to the chorus, we're gonna go E minor. That's gonna be second finger, second fret A, third finger, second fret D, D over F sharp. This might be a new one for you, it might not. In this case, I'm gonna play it with first finger, second fret low E, second finger, second fret G, and third finger, third fret B, and then G. And on this G, I just go ahead and play the standard G chord, okay? No need to switch to that voicing, it would be too difficult to get there. So, then we have a C. Everything else are chords that we've already covered, okay? So here's gonna be the chorus. 3, 4. Alright, so that little pattern there, E minor, D over F sharp, G, and then C, D over F sharp, G, is gonna repeat. That's kind of our pattern, and that repeats a few times. You don't really have much time to do any kind of strumming on the E minor or D over F sharp, but then there's a little bit of strumming on that G, and guess what? If you've got your timekeeper moving, you are gonna just naturally find that rhythm, okay? Specifically, if we were to break it down, we've got down, 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 da 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 ba, 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 da da ba, down, 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 down. Okay, again, I don't love the ups and downs because I think it just creates this habit of memorizing parts, and then you kind of, if you forget the part, it's sort of, you lose your way. I would prefer you to sort of hum it out loud, internalize that rhythm, and then your right hand, your timekeeper, will kind of figure it out, okay? So, after that, after those busy changes, we're gonna go to a D chord for one measure, and then C chord for two measures. So we've got the whole chorus. Again, right? Pretend it goes to the chorus. Okay, now we are to the bridge. So every time an intro or turnaround happens, well, the intro only happens once. Every time a turnaround happens, you play the same thing as the intro. Every time a verse happens, you play the verse that we learned. Same with the chorus. Now, the new part is the bridge. And I want to take a second to talk about how awesome this bridge is. And this is something that Chris does quite a bit. I can think of Broken Halos as another example, where we have not a guitar solo. He sometimes will play a guitar solo, but it's an instrumental section that simply uses different chords. So songwriters, again, pay attention. This is awesome, okay? A lot of times what a song needs is just a couple of measures, a small section to sort of give you something different, to give the listener something different. It sort of breaks their attention and it makes them think, oh, that's pretty cool and interesting. And then it ramps back into a chorus, okay? If he would have just played the chorus without this little break, this instrumental break, through the end of the song, you'd be kind of annoyed by the chorus. I'm not gonna lie. It's a great chorus, but I think it would be a little bit too much. So that's kind of the point, a lot of times, of a bridge. You kind of cross over from one chorus to the next. And a lot of times there's lyrics You know, if you want to just get that last idea in there as a songwriter and you're trying to make some kind of statement, tell a story, the bridge is a good final moment to sort of give the listener that piece of information. But a lot of times the story's told, right? He has said everything he needs to say. This could have been a guitar solo, but it wasn't. It was simply just a couple of new chord changes. One new chord specifically, the A minor, and then right back into a chorus. So really effective, really cool. Don't overthink it. Sometimes all your song might need to find that kind of last magical musical step is going to be a new chord. And then you just do what Chris did, okay? What would Chris Stapleton do? I love it. Okay, so the bridge starts on an A minor. That's a new chord for us in this song. You probably know it if you've been playing for a little while. We have open A string, second finger, 2nd fret D, 3rd finger, 2nd fret G, 1st finger, oh I love this chord, 1st fret B, and open E. Okay, so that's an A minor chord. So our bridge, very simple to play. We have A minor, E minor, G. A minor, E minor, D. 2 measures of D. 3, 4. 1. Okay, I gotta stop singing. I just love this song so much. It's not a singing lesson. Lord knows it's not a singing lesson. Okay, we got all our parts. Intro, turnaround, verse, chorus, and now our bridge. The bridge only happens once. So your job as a guitar player, listen through the song. Very intentionally listen to each of those parts and identify. It's kind of just a cut and paste, right? You have your 4 options, that you know how to play now, and you're gonna take those parts and just insert them into the song, okay? So if you're gonna go back and duet with me on the TikTok page, we've got our intro turnaround, the very first part that we learned, and our chorus. Okay, so if you're gonna duet with me, go ahead and make sure you listen to it a few times, get an idea, because I didn't do the song as it's recorded, right? TikTok is all about, short little videos. So I didn't want to spend too much time on it. So just intro, chorus, turnaround, chorus, okay? I hope you learned something. I hope you had as much fun as I did. I hope my jokes weren't too terrible. And I will see you again soon for another song. I don't know what we're gonna do next, but we're gonna have some fun, all right? Have a great one.